It is Thursday, April 21st, 2022, and from the home studio in Middletown, Delaware, I am Marshall Manlow from My Sports Reports. This is an interview edition of our show here today. And this afternoon, we will meet the Pennsylvania 6A State Girls Basketball Champions from Plymouth-Whitemarsh High School. 34-0. Perfect season. That's what everybody wants, right? Perfect season. And they actually beat our state champions here in Delaware. They also beat one of our Final Four teams here from Delaware early in the season. We'll talk about that and some of the other exciting things that they accomplished throughout the year here. And hopefully when I press this button, my guests will appear. There they are. All right. Now, they can only see my still picture, so it's got to be a little weird. It's just the way this software works here with the lack of a satellite feed. This is kind of how this kind of goes here. But from left to right on my screen, I put the logo right over Jordan's head. Gotta move that there. Okay. Head coach Dan Doherty. Am I saying that right? You pronounce it a different way.
Dan Doherty.
Doherty.
Dan Doherty.
Okay.
Yep.
And then to your left, introduce yourself there, young lady.
I'm Lainey Allen.
Lainey Allen, welcome. And next to you?
I'm Caitlin Flanagan.
Caitlin Flanagan. And next to you?
Jordan Thomas.
Hi, Jordan. So I put your logo up there. I'm going to have to remove your logo because it's kind of in Jordan's ear right now. You'll see it later what I'm talking about here. All right, goodbye, little Colonial. There, it's gone. All right, so congratulations, ladies. I know you've been making the tour around to all the local websites, interviewing you, and TV stations and radio stations and all that kind of stuff. What's the aftermath of your championship been like for you as far as that's concerned?
It's been really exciting. Like you said, talking to a bunch of different people that kind of just want to know more about like how we got there. It's cool to kind of be able to share a little bit, like a little part of what it took, I think. And we've all enjoyed that a lot.
Awesome. And Caitlin, who just spoke up there, you were just recently named the Montgomery County Player of the Year. And I think Montgomery County's twice as big as my home state here in Delaware, so that's a pretty decent accomplishment. Coach, talk about Caitlin and her year and some of the reasons that she won Player of the Year.
So in terms of the overall year, I think one of the culminations that shows just what a great season I call her Flanagan all the time. Caitlin had was in our state championship game. A lot of times the first stat people go to in a game is people look at how many points you scored. And Kate scored 2 points in the state championship game, and you might think that might not have been one of her best performances, but it actually was. She's a special point guard that can dominate the game without scoring because of her defense, her assists, and the way that she handles other teams' pressures. Through the course of the season, I feel like the teams that gave us the biggest challenges and were our biggest tests were the teams that really tried to get the ball out of Kate's hands and disrupt our offense. And I think what separates her, what kind of got that to the Player of the Year level, is you can either let the other team dictate to you that that's what's going to happen, or you cannot let it happen. And I thought in some of our biggest games this year, she refused to let the other team get the ball out of her hands or kind of dictate the pace of play or the style of play. During the course, she's been a starting point guard. She came in here as a freshman, and she's kind of taken on different roles. Some years we've had to rely on her to score, but as the rest of the team, as the team together kind of grew, they've been together for 3 and 4 years now. She kind of saw her role go back more to that traditional point guard, facilitating the offense and really just being a coach out on the court. And when you play as difficult of a schedule and as high level of a schedule as we played from the coach's side of things, you really need that out there. You need someone that understands, what we're trying to do offensively, defensively. And I think that's ultimately what led to the honor this year.
And Caitlin, I take it you're a senior, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
And I understand that you are going to continue playing basketball. Where will that be?
I'm going to be playing at Holy Cross.
Yeah, that's awesome. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Once the high school season ended, I think that's kind of when it set in that was kind of the next step. And I'm super excited. I've been talking to my coaches a lot, and I can't wait to get up there this summer.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Can you dunk?
No, not yet. I'm working on it.
All right. Well, maybe a little growth spurt this summer, and you'll get there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. What else? What else do you like to do besides play basketball?
I guess like the normal high school kid thing. I like to hang out with my friends. Just like getting outside, that kind of stuff. Always being active. That's what I'm into.
She's also a 4-year member of the varsity soccer program as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
Forgot about that? Aren't you playing soccer?
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania, isn't soccer season now, or is it in the fall?
No,
for you?
it's for high school. Yeah, it's in the fall.
Okay. Yeah, see, our
Different,
girls season.
different in Pennsylvania than Delaware. Yeah.
Yeah. Girls are
Girls
playing now.
soccer is a fall sport.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we'll come back to you again. And Lainey Allen, how old are you? What grade are you in?
I'm 17, but I'm a senior.
You're a senior also. And are you going to continue your basketball career?
Yeah, I'm going to University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Okay. Why'd you pick there?
Me and my parents really liked it. They have it's a small school, so they have a really tight-knit community, and everyone there is like welcoming and family. And I just love the environment, so I thought it was a good place to continue my academics and athletic career.
And what's your role on this championship team?
I'm the post player. Like me and Jordan, we're the post players that keep it locked down in the paint, I guess.
How tall are you?
She's the closest that we have to dunking.
That was my next question. You anticipated that. How tall are you?
I'm 6'1", but I cannot dunk. So.
I do some more squats. Do some more squats. Get some spring. You'll be there.
I'm working on it. I'm there. I'm almost there. I can do it.
Yeah.
And what else about you? What do you like to do for fun?
I differ from Caitlin. I like staying inside mostly, watching TV, whatever, spending time with my family. Also spending time with my friends, I guess. But yeah, mostly either at home or in the gym. So there's no in between that.
I find a lot of athletes answer that question the same way. I like to hang out with my friends and all. Nobody says like, well, I'm into oceanography or LARPing or anything like that.
I just mentioned to Lainey. Lainey's highly involved in our BCA club, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I'm in the Black Cultural Awareness Club. I was a leader at the start of the school year, but once basketball started, I'm a regular member now. But yeah, I've been a part of that for about 4 years, all years of high school. It's a good program to have at the school. We do a lot of activities. We did a step team. We have a step team now. They perform at some of our events. They performed at a basketball game, which is really cool. So it's a good program.
Awesome. And where do you see yourself heading after college?
If anything, if I don't get like an internship or something, I was thinking going overseas for basketball, just continue playing if I can.
Okay. Awesome.
A Delaware connection. Lainey's sister goes to the University of Delaware.
Yeah. She also used to play basketball here too, but
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Coach, you're from Delaware, so that's.
Yes, I'm Delaware everything, as much as I can bring it in.
Yeah, lives here, went to school here, St. Mark's High School. Yep.
Yes.
And Jordan Thomas, how old are you? And I take it you're a senior also.
Yes, I'm 18.
And where are you going to play sports in college?
I'm going to Thomas Jefferson University.
Where is that? Is that Virginia?
No, it's in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Jefferson was big in
It used to be Philadelphia University. Then
okay.
The two schools merged.
Okay. All right. Yeah. They throw me off and they change. You finally learn where all these places are, and then they change your names. And Jordan, what were some of the standout moments for you throughout this season here?
I would have to say all the success that we had. It's talked about a lot, like winning certain championships, but I feel like this year it kind of all clicked, and I will never forget winning a district championship and winning a state championship. I think those two will forever be in my mind.
Yeah, so all three of you varsity for 4 years, 3 years, all 4 years? All right, so we had a little issue with the pandemic and back in 2020, and that hit right around playoff time, right, Coach? In Pennsylvania?
Yes, we were in the final 8 of the state total, the state title, or the state tournament, I should say. So we were in the Elite 8, preparing for the game, and then it just goes to show how oblivious you get when basketball season's going on. I had no idea there was a pandemic or anything going on, and school got canceled on a Friday, and we just kept preparing as if we were going to come back, and we never did. So that was crushing. That was sophomore year for this group, and it was tough to swallow coming back from that. And then last year was a really shortened year. Typically, we play a 22-game regular season in Pennsylvania, and every team was just scrambling. You only played January. We didn't start playing games till January. We only got to play 16 games last year during the regular season.
You play a lot of playoff games. I was looking at your schedule. It looks like 9 total.
Trying to think. I guess technically 12. So I know it's so different in Pennsylvania, but so our league is 24 teams, the Suburban 1 League. So we played a 3-game tournament.
Okay.
So that was the first part of the season. And then it took 4 wins to win the district championship, and then 5 wins to win the state championship.
Yeah, that's a tough road. That is How do you keep your players motivated for that level of play for so long? So here in Delaware, for example, the state tournament might be 4 games for the champion, right? But now you're talking about 12 tournament games there, and that's high pressure, high level. It's one and you're, I guess it's one and you're done at all those, right? Or maybe not the first couple.
For the state it is, and for the SOL playoff it is. But in districts, so districts is kind of almost like a seeding tournament. But for this area, so District 1 is Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and Bucks County. And there are 44 6A schools just in District 1. And that is a huge bragging rights that there hasn't been a girls basketball team or a girls sports team at our school that's even won a district championship in over 30 years.
Wow.
It's so highly competitive because it's everyone's backyard. This is just a hotbed for basketball and sports in general. So that's the one area where in districts, if you lose in districts, you can still go into a loser's bracket or a playback bracket and still make it into the state tournament. Your road gets much more difficult going that way. And when you're the District 1 champion, you get the number 1 overall seed for the eastern bracket of Pennsylvania.
Okay. So how do you keep them up for all that period of time? Like I say, have school and all that stuff too. I mean,
it's not easy, but it's nice to have a senior group. The other 2 starters were juniors that were a huge part all 3 of their years as well. So it's one of those things you say sometimes as a coach, when you get a group that cares as much as you do or wants it as bad as you do, that's ultimately when you get, one of these rides and one of this level of success. Like when we sat down at the beginning of the season and we said, okay, what's our personal goal? What's our team goal? I mean, to each one of them rolling across, the team goal was to win multiple championships, not just a league championship, but to try to win multiple championships. And to win a state championship at our school has been a dream since, they've been in middle school.
So, ladies, how did you manage to keep motivated for all that time, and how'd you deal with the stress of all that?
Stress wise, it was actually I think we tried to stay focused on every day in practice. We didn't really think about what we thought about what the outcome was going to be, but we focused on what was in the moment. And we had all these people coming to us and saying, "You're going to win at Hershey, right?" And it was a little overwhelming, but at the same time, so we stayed focused and we stayed one practice at a time, one game at a time. And I think that's what really helped us win in the end. We didn't expect too much, but we didn't expect too little.
The thing that I notice here, though, is that there's really no close games. Overall, throughout the season, you almost scored twice as many points combined as the rest of your opponents. And I mean, you won the state championship game against Mount Lebanon here by 20 points. The semifinals by 13. The quarterfinals there, if I'm reading this right, against Perkiomen Valley by 25. Like, this isn't a fluke. You're a real deal. I mean, you put it to everybody. And even though so our state champion at Caravel, that was early in the season. It looks like your fourth or fifth game this season. And you beat them by 20 points. And
yes,
so
that game was a challenge. We were without our leading scorer that game. So all three games that we played in Delaware, we were without our two guard Abby Sharp, and that I think might have been Kate's highest scoring game of the season. It was really Kate and Caravel's point guard India Johnston were really kind of going toe to toe with each other. But ultimately, what you're saying there too about what sets this team apart too is that all five starters are future high-level college basketball players. So where most of your elite teams have two, sometimes three, our starting five, each one of them led the team in scoring in a game here or there. And it's just one of the, like, if you put your one or two best players to try and take our one or two best, our third, fourth, and fifth are better than your third, fourth, and fifth, and can really just do a wide range of things. So, the other things to speak to some of their talents here too. Like Lainey's 6'1", we advertise her as 6'3" because of her wingspan, but she is the top of our full court press. Like Lainey is incredibly athletic and plays the top of our full court press, and then can finish at the basket with both hands. Jordan is your prototypical stretch four. She's one of, if not the best, three-point shooter on our team, to where she can score with her back to the basket, but you can't play off of her as a post player because she can shoot from long range. And then if you don't play off of her, well, now you're going one-on-one against Lainey in the post, and that's not good either. And so the team really kind of just has so many different weapons. And then what led to some of the scoring differential too is just, we were saying earlier too, just the laser focus the girls were talking about too. The laser focus, the way that these girls, in this day and age, they watch film. We use the huddle program. They watch film. When we had a week to get ready for that state championship game, and we really made experience for the girls going up to Hershey and kind of getting acclimated to the atmosphere and everything there. But I think they were sick of practicing to get ready for it. Mount Lebanon's best player is going to St. Louis, and we had them convinced that this girl was just going to tear them apart, and we held her to 4 points through three quarters. It was 41-17 after the third quarter. But they're just such a motivated team and such a driven team too. And I think something Lainey was mentioning earlier too is that the undefeated just kind of came along. It was never our goal this season to be undefeated. And when you look at some of the tough teams, the Archbishop Carroll game was a huge rivalry game. There's a big rivalry here with public versus private school in our area. And to be a public school and to beat some of these teams, I know that for Flanagan, that game was special. And then I know for Jordan, playing Cardinal O'Hara was a very special game as well. Cardinal O'Hara won the 5A state championship, and we beat them to finish out our undefeated regular season. And so it's the whole undefeated moniker. It was just an afterthought. It was just winning championships. It's always one of the last things that we think of. Now everyone reminds us of it all the time. But going undefeated was never the goal. Just winning the championships was.
So your coach just mentioned that a couple of those schools were special victories for you, for Caitlin and Jordan. Why were they? Jordan, I'll start with you.
Mainly because we grew up playing against and with a lot of the girls that go to Carroll and O'Hara. So not that it's like a big rivalry, but it's almost like bragging rights. And some of these people used to be our teammates, and we're friends with them. So it's nice to play against your friends, but out on the court, they're not really your friends.
Right, that's how it has to be. How about for you, Caitlin?
No, yeah, I mean, she basically said it. Just, you play against girls that are, your teammates maybe over the summer, and then you go against them, and it's definitely just adds a little bit more of that like competitive spirit, because we're super close off the court, but like when you're playing each other, like you want to go at each other, and that definitely made those wins a little bit more fun, I would say. Yeah.
So one of the questions I like to ask of teams that have success like this is that we know that successful teams develop a culture of some sort that people from the outside looking in don't really understand so much. There could be some superstitions, some rituals that you have, that you take part in. What might some of those be that you might want to share?
One of our teammates, so we have 3 of our 4 seniors here right now. Fiona Gunaratna, she leads the team in like knocking on wood. So she's like pretty superstitious with jinxing us in any way. So anytime we said anything about, like if anything we thought was a certain like win, anything like that, we were always knocking on wood, that kind of thing. So that was definitely one superstition, I would say.
I think another thing we did as a team was our pasta parties. Every night not every night, but before every game, most games, we would go to someone's house, get up together, just eat and have fun together as a team and just bond. So I think that also is another one.
Awesome.
I think one that really helped us was like sitting down in the beginning and going over goals, because I'm a firm believer in like speaking things into existence. And I think when our coach had us, share out our personal goals and team goals, I think we all showed each other that, we all want this and we need to help each other get there.
Yeah.
Another thing that jumps to mind, even if we weren't a part of it purposefully as coaches, was it is a long season. Basketball, I would put right up there with football season, is just such a long, grinding season. At the end of our regular season, we had a 1 week off before districts because we had a bye. The girls, the varsity group, went away together. We gave them off practice for a weekend. We were 4 months into the season by then. And so the 7 of them went away with some of the moms and had a kind of just a retreat weekend where they just kind of spent time bonding together as a team, taking a break from the pressure of basketball and season. That's an important thing too, is just in terms of building a culture. The kind of cliche thing that we say to them as coaches all the time is that the relationships that you have with your teammates is always what will last longer than the wins and losses and things like that. It may not last longer than our state championship banner now that we get, but it's something we try to drive home with the kids too. Is just that it's that relationship that you build with one another, because this is one of the first times we've gotten together in a little bit, but like you spend 3 hours a day, 6 days a week together for 5 to 6 months, and it's a long grind. So it's important to kind of take basketball out and remind yourself that your teammates, your friends, and it is a special bond. My superstitious thing that we ever did is whenever we take charter bus rides, we get Shamrock Shakes on the way home,
Yes.
and so it always corresponds to March Madness. Is that in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to travel so far when you get into the state title. So anytime we take a charter bus ride, as long as they win, they get Shamrock Shakes on the way home.
Well, they must have had a lot of Shamrock Shakes this year then. So, Lainey, look over to your left to Caitlin. Tell me something interesting, funny, or positive about her.
Oh, we have this picture of us, and then like before we were playing a game, we started, like, it was like right at the beginning of the game. We just like give each other that look that we know we're about to do some stuff to another team, and we just have this look we give each other all the time. So that's like one positive, funny thing I always thought was cool between us. Yeah.
And Caitlin, you take a look at Jordan, and same question. Tell me something interesting, funny, or positive about her.
I'll say something positive about Jordan. She is, I would say, one of the most like underrated players on our team. Just because she does all like the little and the dirty things, like the things that, like, it's like a grind, you know. And she's the one that's like communicating, like we said, like Lainey's top press, Jordan's usually the back, and she's yelling at everyone, kind of like telling them where they need to be at on defense. And
Stressful.
yeah, and it's a lot, and like it seems like such a simple thing, and she just does it without complaining, and that's something that is definitely a positive about Jordan.
And then Jordan, same thing for you. You have Lainey.
Something about Lainey, I feel like we've kind of created this bond of like bullying people in the paint. Something I'll never forget is when we played this team, and I kind of got into a little argument with a girl, and then I had to walk away, and then Lainey was like, well, who are you talking to? And I just know that like Lainey will always have my back no matter what, and I know that if anyone comes into the paint, they're not going to do anything when me and Lainey are standing there.
Oh, that's good. And then who wants to do the same thing for your coach there? You can all take a turn if you want, but.
I'll go. So one thing that I'd say, like, you know, you read articles like about our games and stuff, but no one ever talks about like the amount of sacrifice that Coach D makes for our team. He has 2 young kids, lives in Delaware, so he's commuting every morning and every night back from late practices. He's watching more film than anyone, so he, like, I don't think this man sleeps, honestly. And that kind of dedication, he was saying that it takes us having the same level of buy-in as him, and we all look up to him in that way, and I don't think it gets talked about enough, and we definitely all respect him so much and are so appreciative of that.
So,
It's nice to have that recognized for sure.
Another thing is that, you know, like an outsider looking in, I think they would think we're all kind of crazy, but having a coach that can push you in that way, but also, you know, like be there for you when you need anything. You can text him, ask him a question. I think that's really important when you create that bond with your coach, that you trust him and he trusts you. So I think that was really important this year too.
Yeah, I also think like your toughness. It's like anyone looking in would be like, wow, he's mean. But we're just like so used to it, and it really like it pushes us. Like we'll complain about it sometimes, but we know it pushes us and it makes us better. And then like at the end of the day, as Jordan said, you can just go to him about anything, even though some of us are scared to sometimes. We can separate coach from mentoring us.
Well, all those are certainly reasons why he's compiled a career record there of 203 wins at 50 against just 56 losses in 10 seasons there at the school. So let me just ask this. What am I missing? Fill in any blanks for me before we say goodbye. Anything that I missed that we should talk about here, let people know about?
So the players that aren't here, I couldn't get everybody here. The players that aren't here, Abby Sharp, she just recently committed to play at Penn. She's a junior. She was also just recently named first team to all Montgomery County. Aaron Daly, who I kind of Flanagan was saying the same thing, very similar to Jordan, is just someone that doesn't always get all the accolades, but really does a lot of the winning plays that you need to win games. It's so much that like Erin was such a difference in the beginning of the state championship game. She guarded the other team's best player, outscored her. It was really a huge boost to begin the game. I know the final score makes it look not so close, but it was 7-7 in the first quarter, and it was a little close there. They mentioned Fiona. Fiona stepped in, probably 2 of our closest games of the season. Lainey got hurt against Haverford in the district playoffs. It was the only time all season we were losing in the fourth quarter. and Fiona steps in, and I still, we talk about this a lot. She took one of those, oh my God, what are you doing shots? And then it goes in, and I was like, oh, that was a great shot. Good job. She took like a logo 3 from
So deep.
as soon as she went into there. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing?
She's so big at shot.
And makes the shot, and then boom, we go from losing to winning the game. And then Jordan missed 2 games this state tournament, and Fiona filled in. She played 32 minutes, to where Jordan is 6'1", Fiona's 5'6". 5'7".
Yeah, 5'6" max.
And so just the fact that you could bring someone in off the bench with that level of toughness to her, and then the other player too, Angelina Bowser, is kind of like our Energizer Bunny kid. She's 5'2", 5'3", and in a pleasant way, I would say, is a pest on the court. She just runs around and bothers everybody, and is a good shooter, just a good energy to have as a part of the team. Our assistant coaches, Coach B is a former player, a great female role model, Bridget McKnight, for the girls. I know they say they're a little scared to come to me about stuff sometimes. They're never afraid to go to Coach B about anything. And TJ DeLucia as well, as an assistant. We've been together 10 years. Every win I have, he's been a part of. So they've been a special group. It's been an incredibly special run here for this group too. The winning the state championship, all the titles and everything this year was really 4 hard years of work. Mm-hmm. When they came in as freshmen, they were replacing a group that was highly successful, and we really didn't know what we had. And maybe about 5-10 games into their freshman year, we saw the talent, and it kind of just started to cultivate, and we kind of took some lumps freshman year and lost to O'Hara in the state title. But ever since, it's just been building and building, and every team says they want to win a championship, but very few teams make the sacrifices to win a state championship. And it still feels a little surreal. It's still one of those things like, oh my, you wake up some days and you forget that it happened. But in our school, in this community, basketball is the sport. It really is. And it's such a special thing that this team will forever be memorialized with a state title.
Well, after talking to you and getting to know you, I'm glad that happened for all of you here this year, and I wish you all the success in the world. Continued success to you, Coach. Hopefully you have some people that can fill in these shoes here the next year. You're probably sweating that out a little bit, like, oh, what am I going to do about these?
A little bit. We have 2 starters coming back.
Yeah.
So, yes.
All right. Well, hey, if you got, you can build a team around 2 starters. That's for sure. Right. And hopefully some other kids step up and grow a couple inches and all. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Is your little 5'2" pest coming back? Every team needs one of those, by the way.
She is. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Everyone needs someone. Every team needs one so they can crawl under people and steal the ball and stuff like that. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I want to thank the Colonials from Plymouth-Whitemarsh High School in Pennsylvania, the PIAA 6A state champions, for joining me here today on my Sports Reports. Head coach Dan Doherty, Lainey Allen, Caitlin Flanagan, and Jordan Thomas. Best of luck to all of you going forward here in your lives, and hopefully we'll get to meet again sometime.
Yes.
At some point.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of spring. Happy summer, and again, continued success and best of luck. Thanks for joining the show.
All right.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right. It's good to talk to people that you hear about, you read about, and you get to meet them, and then you like them, and like, hey, they deserve that. They work real hard. They sacrifice. That is what a lot of people just don't really understand, the sacrifice that people put in. And if you talk about the coach there, Dan Doherty, for a moment, yeah, that's a little bit of a trip up to Plymouth-Whitemarsh there from Delaware, and watching all that tape and spending all that time with those kids and doing all the traveling for the state tournament. and whatnot. That is a lot going on there. So congratulations to him. Well earned. And let me just quickly say that this has been brought to you by me, Marshall Manlove, stage hypnotist. If you would like a funny, fascinating, memorable experience, check out my comedy hypnosis show at marshallmanlove.com and bring me out. It's a fun time. Do shows all around the country. If you would like to suggest somebody for an interview here on the show, just write to me at mysportsreports@gmail.com. If you have any items of interest to submit to me, national letters of intent, signing announcements, do a bunch of those. Athlete milestones, I'd like to do a segment about them as well. Just submit that stuff to me at mysportsreports@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Marshall Manlove, and now I'm gone. Because it's snack time here in the home studio in Middletown, Delaware. Cake.